And good morning, everybody. Hi, I am Steve Farrell. I am the co-founder and executive director of Humanities Team, and I'm coming to you live from our studio here in Boulder, Colorado. I'm here with a dear friend, Yosi Amram, who I was just out in Northern California with last week. And we created a networking and fundraiser event for Humanities Team out there. Boy, what an event! And we'll try and get to that too. There's a lot that we actually want to talk about here during the hour. But first, let me just welcome you. I'll read your bio in a second. Yosi, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, my delight, my honor, and I'm honored you considered me a friend as I do with you. So that's awesome.
Absolutely. Yosi is amazing. So out in the Bay Area, the tech world, hey, people know who Yosi is. If you're out on other parts of the planet, you may not know Yosi. And so you're going to enjoy the hour because Yosi is somebody you want to know. I'll just kind of state it right up front. Just an amazing individual, and he's on our board of advisors and so much more. We're going to get to all of these things. But so first, big shout out to any friends of Yosi that are out on social media, our Humanities Stream friends who are in the studio. And I'm going to wave at you because some of you, I can see you on camera. And it's always kind of neat to have you on camera. So Yosi and I aren't just talking to cameras, we're talking to real people. These are the Stream Plus subscribers that are here in the studio with us. So thank you for joining us. And then Humanities Team and other friends that are out on our social media, on our Facebook site, on our YouTube site. Sign.network, John and Summer Raymer. And you can learn more about them at sign.network. Just big hello to all of you. And they build what they call a wave, where they send this broadcast out across these progressive sites that are all over social media. So welcome to all of you. This is a live broadcast, not a recording. It's not scripted. So boy, we're going to go deep into things that are important, authentic, a new training. Actually, I'll just jump ahead to another thing. We're going to talk about a new masterclass that Yosi Amram has created for our streaming platform on spiritually intelligent leadership. So exciting stuff we're going to get to. Let me go ahead and share Yosi's bio as we get started so you know a little bit about him. So Yosi Amram, PhD, is a licensed clinical psychologist, a CEO leadership coach, and an award-winning author. Previously, the founder and CEO of 2 companies he led through successful IPOs. Yeah, that's right. Led 2 companies through successful IPOs. Yosi has coached over 100 CEOs, many of whom have built companies with thousands of employees and revenues in the billions. With engineering degrees from MIT, an MBA from Harvard, and a PhD in psychology from Sophia University, pioneering researcher in the field of spiritual intelligence, whose research has received over 1,000 citations. As the author of the Nautilus Book Award Gold Medal, award-winning book, Spiritually Intelligent Leadership, How to Improve by Being Inspired, Yosi is committed to awakening greater spiritual intelligence in himself and in the world. So that's quite a bio, isn't it? Don't come across too many people like Yosi. So Yosi, thanks again for joining me. There's a lot we want to get to, so we're going to talk about this unreal journey as kind of a one-of-a-kind journey. How often do you hear a bio like that? We're going to talk about this book, Spiritually Intelligent Leadership, which is magnificent. My daughter and I read it over the holidays here, back in the Christmas holidays last year. So book's been out for really, I think about a year, a little less than a year. It's magnificent. We're going to talk about this masterclass on the Humanities Stream Plus platform. And if we can get to it, we'll talk about our meeting last week, which was unreal, out in just south of San Francisco with other, mostly technology leaders that were out there. So let's just jump into it here, Yosi. I thought that a great place to start is with your own individual journey, where in Israel and in the military, and then you come over to the U.S. and get all of these incredible academic degrees, and then you take 2 companies public before doing the thing that you were probably born to do, which was be a spiritual leadership coach to over 100 CEOs. Wow, how cool is that? Can you just tell us a little bit about that journey? It's amazing.
Okay, well, it took just a little over a year and a half. So I'll try and cover that in a little over a minute and a half. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, as you said, I was born and raised in Israel. Like all young men, I was drafted into the military at age 18 into 3 years of mandatory service, despite my pacifistic leanings. Fortunately, it was a peaceful time at that part of the world, which is now being ravaged by horrific wars. And I was kind of a shy, sensitive kid, and I didn't think I was gonna do very well in the military. But to my surprise, I had the fastest promotion record in the history of our regiment and won all these awards. But despite excelling at it, the command and control model of leadership in the military, while effective and necessary perhaps in battle, chafed at my soul. And that kind of motivated me to ask the question, can you organize and lead groups of people based on more humane principles that bring out the best of them? And that kind of became my lifelong quest, which led me to come to the US and study and so on, and then become an entrepreneur. And my first company, I was a founder. The company's name was called Individual, and it would do personalized newspapers. This is in the late 80s, early 90s. Some of you may remember the world of fax machines. So you'd get Steve's morning newspaper on your fax machine. It was personalized to you. We had self-learning agents that would take your profile and feedback and scan the wire services to deliver Steve's morning news. And I was really, and the other side of what the name Individual stood for is this organizational philosophy that facilitates and supports each individual's growth and uniqueness in a community, in a team environment. Now, I worked passionately 60, 70, 80 hours a week. Then the internet came, and it was a big threat to our business model. And I was burnt out and I got depressed. Like I was scared how we're going to transition the company from a fax base to an internet base, what's going to happen to our revenue streams that were all subscription based when all this information was going to become free and ad supported over the internet. Now, fortunately, I persisted. We turned the business around. We made it into an internet company and we took it public. It was high flying stock. And it was a very hectic time. I was running all over the world. And one day I was trying to relax and receive a massage, and I was lying on the massage table, and I was been interested in the mind-body problem, consciousness, matter. And all of a sudden, as I was relaxing and shedding layers of tension in the body and in the psyche, I had this awakening experience where I felt like, oh, my body and everything else is made of one field of consciousness. And there's no separation between matter and spirit, so to speak. And I was looking through the face cradle, and the floor looked like it was inside of me. So everything was part of this oneness, and I was part of it. And that kind of blew the circuits of my mind and threw me into a manic episode. And I was the CEO of a public company. I was like, we got to do this, this, and this quickly. I saw where the internet was going. I was super passionate. I wanted the company to be the leader, and I initiated all these projects, but my team couldn't execute, and my board thought I freaked out, which I did. So they put me on a quote unquote voluntary leave of absence. Our stock price got cut in half. There were headline stories in the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, about how I was emotionally unstable and lost it. And it was very painful because I was shamed, and all the friends and associates that sought my company, I was a leader in this new booming internet world, stopped returning my calls, stopped responding to my emails. So it was a very painful, traumatic experience. But it's really what led to ultimately, that was a hidden blessing that got me to go back and understand, why was I so identified with the business? Was this awakening experience real? Was it delusion, etc.? And that's kind of what got me to ultimately go and study psychology and become a clinical psychologist, both to learn about myself, and I was starting to coach and mentor other entrepreneurs, and I wanted to work deeper with them. And then I heard the term spiritual intelligence that was coined by this woman, Dana Zohar, a number of years earlier. And I knew all the work around emotional intelligence and the benefits for emotional intelligence for individual well-being and leadership. And I thought, oh, wow, this would be an amazing parallel, spiritual intelligence. So, but what is that? And I wanted to study it scientifically to show that it contributes to leadership and positive outcome, but there was no valid measure. So I set up on a path to do the academic research to define it. And it started by interviewing 71 teachers across all the world's traditions to develop an ecumenical grounded theory of spiritual intelligence. And to my delight, I found that qualities like compassion and integrity and humility and purpose and service and gratitude were universal, regardless of your theology, whether you believed in a God or not, Buddha nature, the Tao, Father Sky, Mother Earth. These were universal qualities that have been celebrated for thousands of years. So from that, I then developed the first academically validated measure of spiritual intelligence that then I could look at, okay, do people who score higher in spiritual intelligence, are they better leaders? And so on. And even after controlling for emotional intelligence. And I found out that indeed they led teams with higher morale, greater commitment, lower turnover. And then follow-on research using the scale showed that they even produced better financial results for their business units. So since then, this instrument has been used and validated by many other researchers, showing that spiritual intelligence contributes to satisfaction with life, quality of life, mental health, resilience, individual productivity, team productivity. So that's exciting. And this is what now my life is about, is helping awaken greater spiritual intelligence in myself and the world. And I think we're living in a critical time where this is the missing piece. We have IQ, we have EQ. You know, with our IQ, we've gotten to the moon. We've split the atom. We've decoded the genome. With emotional intelligence, we're more empathic. We're aware of our emotions. We can connect better with people around us. But you look at the world, there's ever increasing rates of anxiety, depression, addiction, substance abuse, suicide. There's a loneliness epidemic. There's environmental disaster. There's political polarization. There's wars. So we need to address these things in a different way. And we need to have this awakening, this Galileo moment, as you call it, where we understand our interconnectedness. And we understand that we're each cells in this bigger organism. We have to take care of our individual cell, like any individual in the human body. But if the human body is sick, ultimately each cell is going to get sick. And that understanding is our Copernican revolution, Galileo moment. So that's kind of what I'm passionate about these days, and helping people awaken to this reality of interconnectedness, and then cultivate these 22 qualities of spiritual intelligence. So we live a life of purpose and service and deeper meaning and gratitude and joy and beauty, and you rely on our intuition and tap into our higher self and so on. So I'll stop there.
Yeah, wow. Thank you. And thank you, Yosi. You're always so vulnerable. I'm not sure that everybody would share as you do, where you really go down into the fullness of what happened there with that first company that you took public. Thank you for doing that, because it makes you so relatable. And the thing that I get as I'm listening into you, Yosi, is, which I'm sure, you probably have your own words to express this, but what was happening there, that breakdown was this massive blessing, just this massive blessing. Because it then took you into the truth of ultimate reality and living into it fully, creating your own exquisite life. And then, very importantly, with these tech CEOs, where we're still living in this old Galileo thing of that we're putting ourselves in the center of the universe, not seeing the entanglement, the interconnected, interrelated reality, the oneness of which we are a part, helping to guide them to their own journey here, their own conscious journey. Because as you say, we're at that moment now where it's really all on the line. We really do need to wake up now. Of course, we all have free will, so we can wake up or not as we please. But science is affirming now this entanglement, this deeply interconnected reality. Of course, our bodies are separate, but in a vibrational universe, we're deeply affecting each other. And that has major ramifications for how we live our life. So, yeah, thank you again for taking us through that. What an incredible story. Okay, Yosi,
Yeah, well,
your
I think
book.
it's super
Yeah,
important. Yeah.
yeah, please go ahead and share.
Well, I was just trying to say, you know, in terms of vulnerability and so on, telling my story, getting depressed, manic episode, awakening, all of that. I think it's so crucial to normalize, you know, there's so much shame and around mental disorders, mental health issues, and it just makes things worse for people that are suffering. So, and it's amazing. I went back to that company and did a reunion, and I was telling them what had happened because they were all shocked at the time. And then as people open up, it's amazing how many people have experienced depression themselves, suffer from anxiety, know someone in their family that has ADHD or, you know, neurodivergence, all these issues. And it's just a double level of suffering. Not only someone suffers from these things, but then they feel shame and they can't talk about it, creates more isolation. So I think it's so important for us to be open and normalize these things. So that's where I'm coming from as a psychologist. And
Yeah, boy, couldn't agree more. There can't be healing without full disclosure, right?
yeah,
Because there's honesty is always the path to healing, where we just really put it out there, and then oneness, this beautiful thing in oneness, where we disclose and then others disclose, and we support and they support, and this whole beautiful thing, which you share so well in your masterclass. But I don't want to get ahead here as we unfold this whole hour. Your book, Spiritually Intelligent Leadership, a gold award-winning author because, as I mentioned in your bio, a Nautilus Book Award gold medal winning book. That's huge. That's quite an honor. Even a silver award with the Nautilus Book Award category is huge, and gold is off the charts. So, do you want to just share, briefly a couple minutes about your book there, Yosi?
sure. So if I can show off my egoic pride a little bit, besides getting gold award, it became an Amazon bestseller last week in certain categories. So that was exciting. So the book is basically, structured with these qualities of spiritual intelligence, and each chapter covers one of them, and there are case studies from my clients and exercises and so on. So while it's written primarily for leaders, in fact, everyone is a leader, whether you have a formal leadership position in a company. We're all influencing each other in our families, in our communities, etc., in our neighborhoods. But the key idea and the tagline of the book is how to inspire by being inspired. And, part of I remember one of my first business school cases at Harvard was like, managers and leaders, are they the same or different? And the point of it was that managers allocate resources, make decisions, but leaders inspire. And what is the root word of inspire is spirit. And what is spirit? Comes from Latin, the animating breath of life. So leaders inspire means leaders breathe life, cohesion, and into their organization to bring it alive. And how do they do that? They have a sense of purpose. They have a vision. They align people with a common mission, with a shared intention, which then creates a community. And now when you have a community of people that are aligned, working towards a shared vision, then there's a multiplicative power and force, and there's that mutuality of care, and there's not a lot of politics, and everybody more fulfilled, and they're growing and they're contributing. And in this world where there's a loneliness epidemic and remote work, etc. People are spending the bulk of their waking hours in at work, 40 hours or more, however many people work. But there's not another community or whatever that people spend that many of their waking hours. So for people to derive meaning and have a sense of community is so crucial for their well-being. And research by Bain and Company, one of the top management consulting firms in the world, has shown that inspired employees are twice as productive as merely satisfied employees. And when they studied like 2,000 companies, and what are the qualities that lead to inspiring leadership, over half the qualities that I'm talking about as spiritual intelligence are in the Bain study of one of the top 2 or 3 management consulting companies in the world. And these are qualities like servanthood, centeredness, listening, and so on, because employees that feel that their leaders listen, care about them, they're not there to promote their ego, motivate us. And so it's very exciting to see that modern research with business-minded management consulting companies like Bain and Company and leadership development are highlighting the same virtues that have been celebrated for thousands of years. And now you also have the field of positive psychology that Marty Seligman developed. And they have defined character strength inventory and values in action, which has 24 qualities. And again, over half of them map one-to-one with spiritual intelligence qualities like openness and transcendence and beauty and joy and gratitude and purpose. So you have a convergence between these ancient traditions that talked about these virtues, modern positive psychology, and leadership development in the business world, all are highlighting that these qualities make us happier, more inspired, more empowered, and more connected. And who doesn't want to live an inspired life when we're connected to ourselves, connected to each other, connected to the transcendent and sacred dimension of life? And we're that connected, so much energy and power comes through us because it's not coming just from our small skin encapsulated ego. We're tapping into the force. If you want to talk about Yoda, and sort of like says, use the force. Well, we are embedded in this force. And if we tap into it, then there's so much power and aliveness and inspiration that can come through us. And then my clients, as they do that, they become more inspired and empowered. And the important thing is one doesn't have to be religious or even spiritual, quote unquote, to develop these qualities. I have had clients who are devout atheists as well as devout practitioners of a particular tradition, but we can all become grateful. We can all have a sense of purpose. We can all be humble and egoless. We can all tap into our intuition. We could tap into our higher self, however we define it. So this is outside any particular religious or particular spiritual paradigm.
Yeah, exactly right, which is why, thank you, you brought in earlier this whole Galileo moment, and you were even instrumental as we were bringing that out to the public and framing that. It's so important because what this is saying is it's really talking about ultimate reality, that the sun was not the center of the universe. This is what Galileo and Copernicus before him shared.
You mean the Earth was not the center of the universe?
Or I'm sorry, yeah, the Earth was, yeah, the Earth was not the center of the universe, right? And likewise, we are not separate. I mean, Albert Einstein absolutely put his finger on it over 100 years ago when he said the greatest illusion in the world is the illusion of separation. We just flat out, or it's a vibrational universe, and at a quantum level, which is down at protons and neutrons and electrons and things, there's an entanglement or a interconnected interrelatedness that we're all deeply affecting each other. And yeah, your spiritual leadership book is it's such a fresh angle on all of this, where it talks about inspiration really is its center, isn't it? Just like you said, the tagline there, how we can become inspired, and in becoming inspired, we inspire others, and living in flow in this vibrational universe where we're on purpose and in compassion and in flow, all of these things. But so you review this in such a beautiful way in your book, and then in your masterclass, which is on the Humanity Stream Plus streaming platform. And we are now, Humanity's team has become the largest global streaming platform today for consciousness raising masterclasses and transformational education. As of last week, we had 41 new programs just for this year, 2024, Yosi's being one of the 41. And there's a whole pipeline of other new programs that are coming in before end of year. But Yosi's is one of the really excellent programs there that I encourage all of you in the studio who are stream members can go in and go through this masterclass now. There's a search feature on Humanity Stream Plus where you just enter Yosi, Y-O-S-I. You don't even need to enter his last name, Amram, and it'll bring up his 18 video trainings. So including the masterclass that's on spiritually intelligent leadership. So let's go to a short video clip here from your masterclass here, Yosi.
Steve, if I may just correct you briefly.
Yeah, sure.
It's not just about leadership, it's awakening spiritual intelligence. So it's these qualities that are usable in leadership, but for anyone. So I just want to make it clear that,
Yeah, thank you. Also, as you mentioned, when we use the term leadership, we're saying everybody's a leader, right? We're not using leadership in the context of there's some of us that are managers or lead. We're all actually leaders out in the world, and that's why this book has application to all 8 billion people here on the planet, right?
Okay, I like that. Yeah, thank
you. So you bet. So let's go.
You.
Yeah, no. Clarification is always good. Thank you. And we're going to go to the first video clip here that talks that starts to frame this whole spiritually intelligent leadership thing. So let's go take a look at this clip, and then Yosi are going to come back and talk about it.
But what is spiritual intelligence, or SI for short, you might wonder. So let me try to define that. Spiritual intelligence is not a belief in higher power or God, nor is it an experience of awakening or a momentary realization of oneness. Rather, SI is the highest and fullest expression of our life force energy, our spirit, the animating breath and sacred spark of life that naturally arises from connecting and rooting ourselves in our spirit essence, whereby we feel inner, inter, and ultra connected, connected to ourselves, connected to others, and connected to the sacred and transcendent dimension of life. And it is from there that we are able to draw on and express our spiritual intelligence when we embody qualities that have been hailed by all the world's spiritual traditions, including passionate purpose, compassionate service, trust, gratitude, integrity, presence, humility, higher self, to name just a few. In fact, in my research, which involved interviewing 71 teachers that were nominated by their peers as those who walked the talks, their talk in terms of their spirituality, I identified 22 SI qualities, such as those I named above earlier. These teachers represented all the world's major traditions, from Buddhism, shamanism, Judaism, Hinduism, Taoism, Christianity, Islam, and several others. And there were at least 4 teachers from each tradition. And I wanted to see if there was something common or ecumenical about this thing I'm calling spiritual intelligence. And what was exciting is that regardless of their cosmology, theology, or metaphysics, they identified these same qualities: of compassion, purpose, service, trust, gratitude, integrity, humility, and so on that I just named. I'm sure you can name some more. And these 22 qualities clustered into 5 main domains, which are around meaning, grace, truth, consciousness, and transcendence. So here you could take a quick look. Might be hard to read, but anyway, so there are these 22 qualities. You can check them out on my website, and you can read a little more about it. But for this course, we're going to focus just on 6 of those qualities. And these are intention, purpose, centeredness, higher self, egolessness, and connectedness and compassion.
Okay, quite a list there. Yeah, and beautiful as you frame this. You've got something very authentic to just your own journey, which is what you're now inviting people into, is to their own. I want to say this right, so they're coming into their own spiritual intelligence, into their own flow with all of these things that you talk about, the 6 that are in your masterclass, and then the much larger category that is your the research that you did. Yosi, do you want to talk? Is there anything you want to expand on here?
No, I think I would just say that all of us in some way embody these to some degree or another. We all have a certain level of gratitude, certain level of joy, certain level of ability to appreciate and see beauty, and so on. So, but in my experience, it's a lifelong journey to embody and grow and deepen those qualities, so they permeate more and more of our life. So we're living more and more in gratitude, more and more in joy, more and more in love, more and more in compassion and connectedness, etc. And so yeah, and just to draw an analogy, we think of IQ as one thing, right? But IQ in reality has many components. It has verbal comprehension, verbal composition, mathematical reason, spatial reasoning, logical reasoning, memory, so on. And we put all of that in IQ. Similarly, with EQ, emotional intelligence, there's awareness of emotion and self and others, self-regulation, etc., depending on the model. So likewise, spiritual intelligence is one construct, but it has these components. And like anything, you can't, they're all different muscles, and you can't go to the gym and work on all muscle groups in one exercise. So the idea is that you say, okay, this month I'm going to work on my intention, because that's the essence, that my North Star. And how do I deepen my intention and my commitment to my intention? And once I'm clear and deepen my intention, that's my rudder that keeps me on track to where I'm going, my North Star. And then I can pick another quality, purpose or gratitude or service, and then work on that, build habits around each of those. So anyway, so that's kind of, so the master class is organized like with these 6 qualities that we picked, which I think are essential, and with a talk, and then experiential exercises for each of those, so people can work on that. It's not just cognitive. Spiritual intelligence is not just cognitive. You can read my book, but unless you do the exercises and do the practices, it's not as effective. You're not going to really start to embody these qualities.
Yeah, I love the gym metaphor there, where because at a gym, of course, you've got all of these machines that go at these different parts of your body. And likewise, this is what you've done with spiritual intelligence, where through your research, you've identified all of these categories and then created exercises to take people through their own growth process. And then in your master class, you bring it down, the aperture down to 6 of these, and talk about how we can develop these. Let's go to the next the next little video segment we have from your masterclass, and I think this one is talking about purpose. Yeah. Okay. Let's go to video clip number 2, and we'll come back and talk about it. Here we go.
The mystic poet Tagore says it this way: I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted, and behold, service was joy. In other words, most of us humans seek and dream of a life of joy. We do so while we're asleep to the truth of our nature, our divine and interconnected nature. When we wake up to the truth of our nature, the truth of our oneness, the truth of our interconnectedness, we naturally want to serve the quote-unquote other, this greater life we're a part of, that we realize we're just one cell or one organ in this cosmic organism. And our health and well-being depends on the health and well-being of the whole. It is there that we find well-being, pleasure, joy, and connection in helping and serving each other. So this kind of an awakening is like a Copernican revolution. Up to Copernicus, most humans believed that the Earth is at the center of the universe, while the sun and the planets revolve around it. This is how it looks like when I look at the sky through the day. The sun moves, the moon moves, and doesn't look. But then when science, we discovered that it's the other way around. The naive way of looking at the sky is not the way it actually is. It is the Earth that's rotating and circling the sun and rotating around itself. So it is with our ego. Our naive look, when we look at the world around us, we look like separate individuals, skin encapsulated egos, as some would call it. And the world and other objects and people all revolve around us. So we treat everything as a separate object. Our Galileo moment, as my friend Steve Farrell here at Humanities Team calls it, and this idea kind of came from him, is when we wake up and realize that we are part of and are born out of the divine oneness. And it is this divine oneness that nourishes and sustains us, much like the sun provides all the energy for sustaining life on Earth. This is our Copernican revolution. This is our Galileo moment, when we wake up and remove the ego from the center of our universe and place the oneness at the center of our lives. Once we do that, we naturally want to be of service.
Oh, truly beautiful, Yosi. Wow. As I watch you sharing, and then the masterclass is, of course, there's a fullness to the masterclass we can't get to in these little video clips, but I just think, oh my God, we here in the West, we just didn't grow up with these understandings. We grew up with this this one little thing that Darwin said, where there's this belief we need to just go hit the accelerator and survival of the fittest. And then this Newton thing where everything is separate, even within our bodies. We can separate into emotional from physical from spiritual, and most everybody I knew grew up that way. I certainly did, and we have to just cross the Grand Canyon to get to the wisdom that you have here, which you've excavated so beautifully. I'm using excavation just as a term that, because you've gone back through so much wisdom in your research to look at this and really talk about these different, what you call muscle groups, that when we put them together, create this beautiful spiritual intelligence. And most importantly, this exquisite life, which you've come back to over and over again, which is what you found and what you're coaching these other leaders to find. And oh my gosh, it's time for this to spread, huh, Yosi? Which is why you wrote your book and created your master class. And Time for it to spread. The most important thing, isn't it? I think, anyway, from my perspective.
Yeah, yeah. And so, yeah, this was kind of at a high level, but obviously, what the class tries to do and going the exercise, like how do we find our service? And each of us have been gifted by life with these unique gifts and talents and superpowers. And when you give someone a gift, you want them to use it. If I give you a birthday gift and I'm like, you never open and unwrap it, I'm like, that's not so cool. So life has given each of us the gift of life to start with, but then all these gifts. Some people are talented in this domain or another. And it's when we actualize, unwrap that gift and use it in service of others, we feel actualized, our life has meaning and has purpose. So what the class goes into is these exercises to help people, reflect on what are my gifts, what are my talents, and how might I use them to contribute. And there are many, many ways anyone can use those to contribute. And when we use them to contribute, all the research shows that that's the most fulfilling and joyous thing. And, I won't get into all the details of some of the research studies, but yeah.
Yeah, so spiritually intelligent leadership. This is what we're talking about with Yosi Amram. His book by that same name is an award-winning book, Amazon bestseller, Spiritually Intelligent Leadership. Boy, go buy the book. You'll be glad you did. I've got a daughter at NYU that read it with me over the holidays, and we both thought, wow, this is just incredible. And across humanities team, many of us have read it. We were so excited about it. We said, Yosi, would you like to create a masterclass? And we don't just reach out to anybody to create a masterclass. And he created this brilliant masterclass on spiritually intelligent leadership. Again, you can use the search feature in Humanities Stream Plus to go find it, and I'd highly recommend you do. So, and here's something really cool is we're actually creating a campaign around this right now. So in the next couple of months, you'll see us roll out a campaign around spiritually intelligent leadership with Yosi. So you can be, you can get on track here before it comes out. Be one of the early ones to check it out, enjoy it, and share with your friends and family. So I'd highly recommend you do that. Okay, there's another video clip we're going to go to. This next one is on compassion. And I love the things that you share in this video clip. Again, this is part of Yosi's masterclass. We're going to go take a look, and then Yosi and I are going to come back and talk about it.
Indeed, the etymology of the word compassion comes from the Latin word meaning to suffer with. Somehow, opening our heart to care for our own and others' suffering softens our armoring, puts us in touch with the tenderness of our own hearts, and connects us to our loving essence and to that of others. In this way, compassion activates the two foundational qualities of SI, our inner and interconnectedness, which inherently feel good. Indeed, studies show that practicing compassion calms us by activating our parasympathetic nervous system through the vagus nerve. As Ralph Waldo Emerson said, it is one of the most beautiful compensations of this life that no man, and I would add woman, can sincerely try to help another without helping himself. In this quote, we think of compassion as relating to suffering of others. But in reality, compassion also applies and is crucial for self-compassion, which for many of us is harder to practice. All too often, we focus and open our tender hearts to the suffering of others, but fail to do so for ourselves. We judge ourselves and our pain as weak. We are afraid to acknowledge it for fear it would overtake us, or we minimize it, saying, these are first world problems compared to the starving children in Africa. My suffering is nothing. I can't complain or make any kind of big deal about it. Unfortunately, in doing so, we are disconnecting from ourselves and our spirit essence and tender heart, which, when open and awakened, is sensitive to all suffering, big and small, ours and others. In the words of the Buddha, you can search the tenfold universe and not find a single being more worthy of loving kindness and compassion than yourself. I'm going to repeat that here because this is so crucial and so hard for so many of us to remember. You can search the tenfold universe and not find a single being more worthy of loving kindness and compassion than yourself.
Yes, I'm glad you repeated that, Yosi, because it's important and it needs to be repeated. And people like Louise Hay spent her whole life on this. This was what her books were about, and when she started her publishing company, because this whole journey is such a, we share, it's an inside out journey that if we want to bring things to others, just as you say, if we want to inspire others, we need to be inspired. If we want to serve others, we need to get there ourselves. It's an overflowing thing that is this journey, and where we bring compassion to ourselves, and we're all a part of the one. I love the scientist that Yosi Amram says, we're sovereign of the one. The universe can't be without you. My God, there's no universe without you. It's you are inseparable from the universe, and where we see ourselves this way as an important part of the one, a cell in this body, this magnificent body we call cosmos or universe, or boy, if we really want to fly high, God or the divine, then we will bring that compassion back, and then we will take the time to read and understand and embody, things like spiritual intelligence, and then get to where you share, where when you talk about the arc of this whole thing, you say how we naturally want to serve one another and live in our greatest purpose when we realize our oneness with all beings. That's the this is the exquisite thing that I never could find just starting and growing companies when I was in Silicon Valley. But when I left, and then with Neil Donald Walsh, we started Humanities Team 21 years ago, became an educational nonprofit. Now I get to work with people like Yosi that create these books and classes and things that do such a beautiful job of just kind of really explaining what all of this is and inviting people in. Yosi, you want to expand on any of this, or compassion, that video clip that we just looked at?
Well, yeah, I mean, just to elaborate a little bit. So obviously, if we're burned out ourselves, we can't help others. Like, if I'm drowning, I can't throw a rope and help rescue anybody else. So we have to do our self-compassion practices, and it's not just an idea. I mean, in the class, I offer certain exercises and techniques and I do that with my clients all the time, which is to help calm our nervous system, clear our mind, and then we could deal with the challenges, that are in front of us. And then we can also extend that compassion to others and be with them, which, sometimes we can't take away the problem. When a friend, whose parent or loved one dies, we can't bring that person back, but it's so crucial that people don't feel alone in that journey, that they feel the support. And likewise, we don't want to abandon ourselves, if we don't want to abandon our friends and loved ones. So being close to ourselves resources us and says we're worthy of our attention. And then when we're worthy and we're connected to ourselves and resourced, then I could be there and be available for others. So it kind of all works together and feeds on each other with this positive feedback loop.
Yeah, exactly right. And maybe the scientists share, maybe our DNA is this, that we're just a part of this larger body. And so once we live into this oneness, this larger body, this world around us, God embodied, which is the universe or cosmos, and live into it as our highest self, which means our most giving self, our most in service self, with ourself at the center, where, because some people, especially Stephanie, my wife, will share, there are a lot of women that just skip the step of taking care of themselves and they just go straight to the step of taking care of others. And just as you mentioned, we can't throw a rope if we're drowning, right? So we have to start by taking really good care of ourselves and understanding the precious, precious individual that we are, this cell in this body of God. And we want to take good care of ourselves.
Well, the
and then we can
cell,
throw ropes in all directions.
exactly. And if you look at a cell in the human body, it has a cell membrane, and it has an immune system that keeps its integrity. But it can't do one without the other. If you just take care of your cell membrane and the body is infected with cancer, eventually the cell is going to wither and die. And if it's just trying to take care of the others but not taking care of itself, it's gonna lose its integrity. It won't be able to do its function. So you have to do both. And one of the quotes I love to share about this is the sage Hillel, who said, "If I'm not for myself, who is? If I'm only for myself, what am I? And if not now, when?" So this is kind of our call, our awakening call. We have to take care of ourselves, take responsibility for us as an individual. Don't be victims. That's part of leadership, is taking responsibility. And then take responsibility for the greater whole. And then when we do both, we align our self-responsibility with the greater responsibility. There's an alignment between our purpose and the greater story that's unfolding around us in the universe and Mother Earth and humanity. Then that's the most fulfillment. We're aligned with divine will, if you want to use that language. And that's our greatest power and greatest fulfillment.
Amen. Yes, so true. And I'll just add to that, what we've come back to here during this hour is, as we know, you were sharing both individually and collectively when we look out the window. This is a very challenging time, right? This is a very, very challenging time in the world. And boy, if ever the world needs our best, our highest self, it's now, where we live into these things that we're talking about, which is ultimate reality. That's this whole Galileo moment thing, is that it is, maybe didn't grow up with the understanding we're part of the one, but science is affirming what mystics have shared down through the ages, that there actually is a one, which goes by many names, this universal intelligence that's animating all of life, and living into it creates this exquisite life for us individually, and then where we do that together, we all go to our own station in life and understand what is ours to give. We can't do everything, but we can all do something. And when we all go to, in our daily practice, go to our own station in life, the thing that we're called to give, which Yosi, to write this book, to create this masterclass, to be a coach to these hundreds, to go, actually, let's, in the last couple of minutes, let's go to this program. You said, hey, let's create something, Steve, out in Northern California in the San Francisco Bay Area where the tech world lives, to support this great work, right, of oneness, of conscious living. So we had this marvelous meeting on Thursday last week. It was small. There were, I think, less than 20 of us. But, oh, what a room full of people, huh, Yosi? And what an inspiring evening.
Yeah, it was awesome to see. And they spanned a broad range. I mean, there are tech CEOs working on AI and other things that have built companies with hundreds of employees, and like Emmett, who's built a company with thousands of employees and revenues in the billions. And then all asking, like, how do we get into greater alignment? And whether it's through technology, software technology, and then Anodea, which is one of the longtime teachers and authors on the humanities team, and she's talking about spiritual technology and getting alignment by opening our channels through the chakras and our vertical alignment, the spine that connects heaven and earth, and like bringing heaven down to earth. So we're talking about spiritual technologies, we're talking about software technologies, and we're talking about, and each of us are bringing these different aspects to this greater alignment and harmony, so that the greater wholes is thriving, and that's where we find again our purpose, our fulfillment, and our individual and collective well-being. So yeah, it was exciting cross-fertilization of different people from different walks of life, but all leaders, thought leaders, motivated to help live through this critical moment in time of humanity as we're going through this birth canal into the new humanity, the new earth.
Barbara Marx Hubbard shared that our crisis is a birth. Yes, which you mentioned, Anadea Judith, who is a key faculty member on the Stream Plus platform with Yosi. She was there presenting just a beautiful talk, and she brought this in, that yes, we know of these incredible challenges out in the world, but this crisis, these challenges, is a birth of what? A birth of this new elevated consciousness, a birth of our higher self, a birth of creating this exquisite world. All of these things that Yosi and I are talking about, and his book, Spiritually Intelligent Leadership, his masterclass on the same topic, is just, it's rich, just a treasure chest full of exploration, and with homework and assignments, so that you can bring this into your own life. And I highly recommend the book and the masterclass. This hour's gone fast, Yosi. We're just about out of time. I want to thank everybody in Humanities Team, but before I do, your website and anything that you'd like to share as we close this program, Yosi, please bring it in.
No, I mean, I'll just say one thing in Chinese, crisis is the same word as opportunity. So, this crisis is an opportunity for each of us to step up and contribute. And we're in this pivotal tipping point. We can have a major impact into the direction of our lives and the greater human life on this planet. So I just want to say the crisis is a great opportunity. And yeah, I mean, my website, yosiamram.net, is a gateway. I have my coaching website, therapy. There's a free assessment possibility. One of the websites, if you want to go to Intelligency, there's free assessment profile of your spiritual intelligence. You can see your strengths and opportunities, and there's tips for development with each of those. So yeah, there are many resources. And I'm just honored and delighted to be here and contribute. And, we do our best, and we leave the rest for everyone. And if it resonates with you, then I'm honored and privileged to be here.
Yeah, well, thank you. Just honored and privileged to have you on the journey with us, Yosi. You're a great contributor to this beautiful future we're building, and as everyone knows who's part of Humanities Team, we were called to this mission to make conscious living pervasive, prevalent worldwide by 2040, so 16 years from now. And we have a lot of programs in the pipeline now that indeed will take us there. How's that for a statement? In today's world. Whoa.
Yeah, you were called and you answered it and you stepped up.
Yeah, all of us, we all have free will. But oh boy, this is, if ever there were a moment where we don't want to sacrifice our soul for just earthly pleasure, where we want to really hear our soul's calling and follow it, this is that moment. And the beautiful thing is when we follow our soul's calling, all of the really wonderful things that Yosi and I are trying to put words to come into our own life and into our own home and into our workplace and our coaching and all of these things. So and I know you know that. That's why you're here watching this program. You're on the conscious journey yourself. So So thank you. Thank you, all of you, for spending quality time with Yosi and I during the hour. We're grateful. Let me just thank our team here. So Jim Gray, who's right here in the studio with me, we've got a little camera we can pull back and you can see Jim. Okay, there's Jim on camera. That's me. So Jim, thank you. We didn't go down. We're able to pull in these video segments. It's live. Yosi coming in from the San Francisco Bay Area, me here in Boulder, Colorado. Garth Catterall, Nanette Kennedy, Dee Meyer, Karen Watson. So there's so many people on our team. I can't thank them all, but they're all the ones that make this program possible. Thank you, guys. Much appreciated. Another great week. And we're back next week, the day before Thanksgiving here in the United States with Deborah Poneman. I'm going to be live with Deborah Poneman. Just like today's program with Yosi. Boy, you're going to love it. So join us 9 a.m. Pacific next week. Okay, thanks everybody. Love and peace and blessings to you, and have a magnificent rest of day and week. And let's journey together to this whole thing that before 2040, wow, tipping point in this whole spiritual intelligence thing, conscious living thing. Here we go.
Thank you.